Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an in-depth exploration of a pressing issue shaping North America's economic landscape as of March 4th, 2025. Today, we are delving into why President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods are a devastating blow to Canada's economy, society, and global standing, while simultaneously delivering significant advantages to the United States of America. These tariffs, announced in late 2024 and implemented in early 2025, impose a 25% tax on all Canadian goods entering the United States of America, with a 10% rate on energy resources, marking a seismic shift in our bilateral relationship. Canada and the United States of America share the world's longest undefended border, stretching nearly 9,000 kilometers, and a trade partnership worth $3.6 billion daily. According to Statistics Canada in 2023, for decades, this relationship has fueled prosperity on both sides, with Canada sending 76% of its exports south and the United States of America relying on Canadian oil, lumber, and auto parts. But President Trump's tariffs, enacted on February 1st, 2025, and delayed to March 4th after negotiations, aim to curb fentanyl flows and illegal migration, a national emergency, he claims, while boosting American industries. For Canada, this is a crisis. Our $2.14 trillion gross domestic product, ranked 9th globally by the International Monetary Fund in 2024, now faces a projected $69 billion loss by 2028, according to British Columbia's Ministry of Finance in January 2025. For the United States of America, it's a strategic win, raising $1.3 trillion in revenue over a decade, per the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, and shielding domestic producers. Using the latest data, we'll unpack how these tariffs cripple Canada's trade-dependent economy, disrupt livelihoods, and spark inflation, while handing the United States of America economic leverage, job growth, and supply chain control. This is a tale of two nations, one reeling, one rising tide by proximity, yet divided by policy. Let's begin. Let's start with Canada's economy, because the numbers paint a grim picture. Canada is a trade-driven nation. 67% of our gross domestic product comes from trade, according to the World Bank in 2023. And 76% of our $557 billion in annual exports go to the United States of America, per Statistics Canada. President Trump's 25% tariff on Canadian goods, excluding a 10% rate on energy, strikes at the heart of this reliance. The Bank of Canada warned on January 30th, 2025, that these tariffs could substantially disrupt our economy, potentially slashing export volumes by nearly 5% by 2027, as estimated by TD Economics in October 2024. Take oil, a cornerstone of Canada's exports. In 2023, we shipped 4.2 million barrels daily to the United States of America, accounting for 18% of their oil imports, per the United States Energy Information Administration. Even at a reduced 10% tariff, costs rise. Patrick DeHaan of GasBuddy predicted in February 2025 that this could add 30 to 40 cents per gallon at American pumps, painful for them, but catastrophic for us. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce's Business Data Lab projected in November 2024 a potential recession by mid-2025, with a $30 billion hit to American exports offset by a far worse $69 billion cumulative loss in British Columbia alone by 2028, per the province's January 2025 assessment. Then there's lumber. The United States of America imports 20% of its lumber from Canada, $34 billion in 2023, per the United States Department of Commerce. A 25% tariff jacks up costs, but America's housing market, slowed by 7% mortgage rates, Oxford Economics, January 2025, can't absorb it all. Canadian exporters, facing a supply shock per the Forest Resources Association, cut production, laying off workers. British Columbia predicts 124,000 job losses by 2028, with natural resource sectors like forestry hardest hit. Autos are next. Canada exported $37 billion in vehicles and $20 billion in parts to the United States of America in 2023, per S&P Global Mobility. Supply chains crisscross the border. Think Ford's F-Series engines from Ontario. A 25% tariff, applied each time a component crosses, balloons costs. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce warns of a significant negative shock, with assembly plants at risk. TD Economics forecasts a 0.6% annual gross domestic product drop in 2025 and 2026. No recession, but stagnation looms. Inflation's the kicker. Retaliatory tariffs. Canada's 25% on $155 billion of American goods, announced by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on February 3, 2025, raise import prices. The Bank of Canada's January 2025 report notes a 2.5 to 3% inflation spike by 2026, eroding purchasing power for our 41 million people. Corporate profits could drop $3.6 to $6.1 billion annually in British Columbia alone, per their Ministry of Finance, as firms absorb costs or lose markets. The Canadian dollar, down 8% since September 2024. Council on Foreign Relations, February 2025, weakens further, amplifying import pain. Contrast this with diversification hopes. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership grew our Asia-Pacific trade 12% since 2018. Per Global Affairs Canada, but it's a trickle $66 billion in 2023 versus the United States of America's flood. Our $1.36 trillion foreign direct investment stock risks flight as firms balk at tariff chaos. Canada's economy isn't just bruised, it's battered, with no quick fix. Now, flip the coin. Why do these tariffs benefit the United States of America? President Trump's policy, rooted in his February 1, 2025, executive orders, turns trade into a weapon, and it's working for them. The United States of America's $26.9 trillion gross domestic product, per the International Monetary Fund in 2024, absorbs tariff shocks better than Canada's $2.1 trillion. Trade is just 24% of their gross domestic product, per the World Bank, versus our 67%, giving them resilience we lack. First, revenue. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimated in January 2025 that a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, plus 10% on China, raises $1.3 trillion over 10 years. That's a fiscal boon, offsetting Trump's $5 trillion tax cut extensions from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, per the same group. American importers pay $680 billion in 2023 exports from Canada and Mexico, per the United States Department of Commerce, but pass costs to consumers, who shrug off a 0.8% inflation bump. Brookings, February 2025, in a $26 trillion economy. Next, jobs. Tariffs shield American producers. Steel, hit with 25% tariffs in 2018, saw no net job gains then. University of Chicago, 2024, but today's scope, 25% on all Canadian goods, tips the scale. The United Steelworkers warned of cross-border pain, but domestic mills in Pennsylvania or Ohio gain as Canadian steel, $12 billion in 2023 imports, gets pricier. Lumber tariffs cut Canadian competition 20% of United States supply, boosting Idaho and Montana mills. The Tax Foundation's March 2025 analysis notes a 0.2% long-run gross domestic product hit from 25% tariffs, but that's $54 billion peanuts to them, crippling to us. Supply chains shift too. Auto's $37 billion from Canada in 2023 face tariffs, nudging firms like Ford to source stateside. The Peterson Institute for International Economics February 2025 says this reshoring cuts reliance on Canada's 50% interregional trade share, per Brookings. Energy's a win. Canada's 10% tariffed oil $87 billion in 2023 still flows, but Texas and North Dakota producers, pumping 5.5 million barrels daily, grab market share as prices rise 30 cents per gallon, per Gas Buddy. Inflation manageable. The Tax Policy Center's October 2024 study pegs a 20% universal tariff at $3,000 per household annually here. It's $1,200 for 25% on Canada, Mexico, and 10% on China, per the Peterson Institute in February 2025. American consumers, with $71,067 median income at the 60th percentile tax foundation, 2025, absorb it better than Canadians at $49,000. Statistics Canada, 2023. The United States of America's dollar strengthens, partly offsetting costs, while ours weakens. Finally, leverage. Beyond economics, Canada faces social and political upheaval. Tariffs don't just hit wallets, they fracture communities. British Columbia's 124,000 projected job losses by 2028 to 6.7% unemployment in 2025, 7.1% in 2026, per their Ministry of Finance ripple nationwide. Alberta's oil workers, Ontario's auto assemblers, and Nova Scotia's fishers face layoffs as exports tank. Statistics Canada's 2023 unemployment rate of 5.4% spikes, with the Bank of Canada hinting at 50 to 75 basis point rate cuts to cushion it, further devaluing our dollar. Immigrants, 465,000 in 2023 per immigration. Refugees and Citizenship Canada suffer too, with 60% underemployed due to credential barriers. Statistics Canada, 2024, tariff-driven stagnation kills job hopes. Engineers 25% eyeing emigration. Per Engineers Canada 2024, accelerate the brain drain to the United States of America or United Kingdom, where salaries top $105,000 versus our $85,000 pay scale, 2024. Families split, dreams stall, politically, it's chaos. Trudeau's $155 billion retaliatory tariffs, $30 billion immediate, $125 billion phased spark by Canadian push ex posts. February 2025, but 54% fear coercion over merger. Angus Reid, January 2025. Premiers like British Columbia's David Eby lobby governors in February 2025, per News, Gov. BC. But Trump's retaliation clause TD Economics, January 2025, threatens escalation. Public faith wanes, 82% reject United States annexation, 75% spurn the European Union, per the Association for Canadian Studies. Canada's unity phrase as provinces bicker over responses. For the United States of America, tariffs are a masterstroke. Their $916 billion defense budget in 2025 Pentagon dwarfs our $26 billion tariffs funded, pressuring Canada's border security concessions. The Council on Foreign Relations notes a 30% peso drop and 8% Canadian dollar fall since 2024, weakening rivals, strengthening American clout. Manufacturing thrives. The National Association of Home Builders February 2025 warns of cost hikes, but United States producers lumber in Georgia, steel in Indiana fill gaps as Canada's 20% lumber share shrinks. Autos shift to $78 billion in North American parts stay south. The United States Chamber of Commerce February 2025 admits supply chain upending, but long-term, its self-reliance trumps goal. Consumers grumble $1,200 extra annually Peterson Institute, but $125,315 at the 80th Income Percentile Tax Foundation, 2025 cushions it. Retail adapts avocados from California, not Mexico's $45 billion trade. The White House's February 2025 fact sheet boasts safety and security. Tariffs deliver, tilting North America their way. Canada can't join the United States of America or European Union. Both fail us. The United States of America's $13,493 healthcare centers for Medicare and Medicaid services 2024 versus our $6,939. And 48,000 gun death centers for disease control and prevention to our 900 Statistics Canada clash with our values. The European Union's 4,000-kilometer gap and $20 billion fee European Union budget formula ignore our reality. Instead, diversify Asia-Pacific trade grew 12% since 2018 Global Affairs Canada. Fix credentialing 60% immigrant underemployment Statistics Canada 2024 wastes talent. Tariffs hurt, but surrender hurts more. In closing, President Trump's tariffs crush Canada's $69 billion lost, 124,000 jobs gone. Inflation up while lifting the United States of America with $1.3 trillion in revenue, job gains, and strategic dominance. Our $2.14 trillion economy reels. Their $26.9 trillion rolls on, but Canada's spirit endures. We reject subjugation. 82% say no to the United States of America, 75% to the European Union. Fix our flaws, credential barriers, brain drain, innovation lag, and rise, not as a vassal, but as Canada unbroken.